So the BRICS situation, that went viral last week when a lot of different things were posted about China and Russia, a variety of other different countries. So now Saudi Arabia has partnered with China to build an oil refinery for $12 billion, and China and Brazil have reached a deal to trade in their own currencies, ditching the U.S. dollar. What does this mean for our stock market, our economy, and what do we do to protect ourselves?
Yeah, this is the thing that people have been asking the most. It's like, what do I do to protect? So the two tech, two index strategy will work whether we're number 1 or number 3, number 5 in the world. It's really important. We talked about it last night. I never said it before, but any company that you're investing in, you want to make sure that they have good relationships in China, Russia, and India. India especially because their population is growing really fast. And Apple just happens to be building a huge plant there. We'll have a lot of jobs there, have good relationships in China and good market share. What does this mean for our stock market and economy? If we don't get our affairs in order, we're going to be in trouble. This is no different than, like, let's say I'm in, I don't know, the Bronx, and I go outside and say, nobody won't smoke with me in the Bronx. I wish y'all would come outside. And then all of a sudden, not a good idea. And then that was 9 people from the Bronx out. I'm like, Poppy, hold up.
Then you up and smoke.
Right? Up and smoke tour. Right? So now, if you ever seen Breaking Bad, like, America's Jesse Pinkman. Loud, obnoxious, troublemaker, and then all the cartels, which would be Brazil, Russia, India, China, South America. I'm even looking now and seeing Oman has joined. Of course, we talked about Kenya before. We've been a bully for so long that all of our enemies are coming together to work against us. That's why we talked about it last night. You have to be very careful who you go to war with because this generation may not be the one that attacks you and defeats you. It may be the generation after. I don't want to be salacious and say what I said at the show, even though I believe it's true. Platform is bigger. But if we do not get our affairs in order, it's going to affect our stock market because we really don't have any advantages anymore outside of military.
I'm glad you stopped right there because the military was the number one thing for that region. Yeah. Right. We were protecting our interests, right, which was oil at the time. But like these type of moves, when I read them and I see it, the number one thing I think of is our dominance is waning. Now, how fast does it wane?
It'll be a 10 to 30 year period, but things can get bad over the next 3 really fast.
I think that statement is grossly exaggerated, and the reason why that our dominance is waning.
Why?
Well, I'm going to say why. So I feel that, we talked about this before, America still has the strongest military in the world. By far. Not even close. So from a military standpoint, nothing has really changed. The American dollar is still the strongest, most used currency in the world, by far. It's like 100-yard head start in front of the next currency.
But we about to blow our knee out like how I did when I got fouled. You know
but then also, I don't think it's the world is becoming flat. So a lot of this stuff is politicized, but everybody's working together and everybody is moving around. But when you look at who really runs the world, is corporations. 90% of the top corporations are American-based companies. So when you have Apple, when you have Amazon, when you have Google, when you have Meta, when you have Microsoft, the common denominator is that those are all American companies. So, and they're all international companies. So they do business in China, they do business in India, they do business in Africa, they're going to do business all over the world. But the world is driven by technology, and all of the strongest technology companies are American companies.
But we outsourced a lot of our tech to India.
Workers.
Which is key, which is a huge mistake too. Also, like, notice Apple and Microsoft over the last 10 years, Tesla's tried to make a huge push into China. They also are protecting their interests to make sure that they're dominant in other countries if we fall. You guys don't have to listen to me, even though I said this 2 years ago, and then I'll see everybody tag me in that wealth post. Shout out to them. Yeah. I'm like, I've been telling you this is coming. But if Apple and China are building that big-ass facility in India and China, there is a reason why.
Well, I think that it's only intelligent to... Why are we in Canada? We're not local. We're not minimizing ourselves to America. You would be an extremely unintelligent person if you only do business in the area that you actually live. Like, the world is your oyster. So you should be finding ways that you can make money across different borders and across different regions. So if you're the biggest companies in the world, why would you not invest infrastructure in different economies?
At one point, we didn't have to, though.
Right. This is what I'm saying. So that the word waning is like, let's say 20 years ago, could you even imagine Saudi Arabia saying that we're not using this currency anymore?
Well, Saudi Arabia never said that they wasn't using the currency.
Well, but in the deal with them and China for the oil, that's what they're saying.
And also, too,
because that's one deal.
And this deal, I'm saying, 20 years ago, that wouldn't even be a thought.
That was like a super conspiracy, like that would have. Now, India were trading in rupees going forward, ditching the U.S. dollar.
Yeah, but like I said, a lot of this stuff is semantics because
that's not semantics.
It's not a major threat to America. Everybody knows that China's economy is on pace to pass America. It's been documented for the last 20 years.
Yeah, but I've always said
I think that's two different conversations, right? Like, is it a major threat? Maybe not. Is the dominance waning? I think so. But it doesn't have to be. It's not a major threat. Yeah, that's why I said. And how long does this take?
About 30 years. Listen to me, please. Right? But 30 goes by fast, but we're going to see a huge change in 10. And it's not China versus U.S. It's China plus India, plus Ghana, plus Kenya, plus Mexico. Okay, now if we're going to be super honest, when that virus came here, that was stage 1 of war. When that fentanyl got shipped to Mexico and Mexico moved it to the States, that's phase 2. TikTok, phase 3. Dollar, phase 4. No one else was talking about this 2 years ago. You think I went to Mexico just because the tequila good? And what?
Easy.
No, I'm like, I want to get away just in case things go down. Como se dice, I told you so. How you say I told you so in Spanish? How you say it in French? Let me know. I'm telling you, y'all don't have to listen to me. This happens all the time. Bitcoin never gonna fall that far. And then it falls, and then I'm like, told you so. We'll monitor the situation. Brinks, we all know an old gangster that was like a gangster in 1982, and all the young boys run them off the block now? That's America. Get off my block, Otis. I'm playing with you no more.
Get up, Craig. Get up, Craig.
We will monitor the situation.
Yes.
For sure. We will monitor the situation.
So we got 30 years, all right.
Yeah.
But like I said, I mean, even if America is not number one, not the end of the world.
That's true. That's why. Is it a major threat? Maybe not a major threat, but going from 1 to 2, that means the dominance is winning.
But as investors, my favorite.
But yes, the dominance is weighing for sure.
Okay.
But it's not something. It's not a drastic. It's not a drastic fall. That's what I'm saying. It's like
that's true.
The decline is going like this.
Yeah.
But everybody has already seen the decline. It's not a surprise.
But here's the thing, and this is like that business lesson, right? If you're not growing a business, what are you doing?
Dying. The kid, the dog, everybody dying, no lying. Hey, genes too tight, leadership terrible. We exported everything that was great about America to another country and got mad when other countries took our model, remixed it, and used it against us. We got to keep some stuff homegrown. Also, as investors, the most important exercise is this. What do you do if everything goes wrong at one time? 25 years ago, when I was buying a Shine album or something, I never would have thought Brazil, Russia, India, China would come together and say that we're going to come off the Petro Dollar and we will lose our tech dominance. Even being here in Toronto, their main institution, like main sector that is doing well is the banks. It reminds me of 1980 through 2007.
Yeah.
Once we went super tech heavy, it led to the downfall because we started printing money too fast and putting too much money into these companies. It's led to our downfall.
I think that's true for even this economy right here in Canada. It's like to have that level of dominance from one sector is risky.
Yeah, they're going to slowly diversify.
Right? Like
here's I don't want to label this point too much because we have other stuff to talk about, but here's my last thing about America. America definitely has a lot of issues, for sure. But the one thing that America has over the vast majority of almost every other country in the world is that all these other countries, the government really runs the country. America, business runs the country.
Yeah.
So when you go to China, it's like the government is stronger than the private sector. Even here, they were saying like how strong the government is out here, like as far as the rules and regulations. You can go down the list. Any African country, the Middle East, whatever. That leads to slower growth in the private sector. It's a reason why 90% of the companies that are bigger in the world are American-based.
I agree.
When you have government that is in control of the situation it is not beneficial to private sector growth.
Mm-hmm.
So I say that to say America still has a tremendous advantage from a political standpoint, because even though it's hard to get anything done because politicians don't really have that much power, that's actually beneficial for business, because now that leads to businesses becoming independent. And business really runs government because lobbyists pay for politicians and they push through what they want to get done. So no other country really has that system running as efficiently and effectively as America. It's not even close. Like I said, all those other countries that you just named, the government runs everything. Saudi Arabia, the king runs everything. The kingdom rumes everything.
What happens when you have the government that creates the company that can now attack?
That's they already have that. That's with China. That's with Russia. But I'm just saying it hasn't worked. It doesn't work in the same manner. It's been proved.
Has TikTok?
That's
TikTok,
one company. But
I'm just saying that's a good example.
But what I'm saying is that one or two Alibaba, it's gonna pop up.
Yeah.
At mass scale, they don't have 100 companies. They don't have 500 companies.
It's difficult.
It doesn't work in that same manner because government is not efficient in that. Government is to provide for people. Politicians are not business people. This is why when
in the States, well, police
just
argue
in general, for the most part, there's always going to be exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, this is why the socialist governments, they don't work. You can't run business if you're not a business person.
It's tougher to do at scale.
Extremely difficult.
But when I saw Putin and Xi Jinping making pancakes together, I've been friends with Ty for like 25 years. I never made no pancakes
together?
In public. You know how long you have to be friends with somebody to make pancakes with them in public? So what if they go to labor your point? Hey, this traditionally hasn't worked, and they're making pancakes together, putting a little honey on it, do the Salt Bae thing. What if they go to Elon, because Elon is not from the States, and say, hey, move Tesla over here. No taxes for 50 years, and we'll make sure that you have global dominance in China. What would that do to our market? All these Indian CEOs.
Nothing.
If they
won't do anything.
They wouldn't do nothing to our market?
Tesla's one company. Tesla's still going to operate on the American stock exchange.
I think nothing is a vast overstatement. It will do something.
And with the Indian CEOs, if they get incentivized to go back to India or build more there, and we lose 4 big major players, what happened? We can say it though, man. We saw what happened to Cleveland when Braun left.
Shout out to Donovan Mitchell.
All right. Okay. We'll revisit this conversation.
My graduates from my school being Forbes, bag drop.
Bag drop.
A mic drop, bag drop.
Bag drop.